And we are back with the third segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this third segment, we are going to do a quick recap of all the NBA games that went down over the weekend. So let's go right ahead and start out with that. So Curito, he had something to say in the chat. What Paul said about Curry. I'm not entirely, are you asking me a question? Or are you gonna say something on your opinions on what he said about Paul, or what Paul Pierce said about Steph? I don't know, but if you want to see that, if you want to see what I said and what my opinions are about this topic, then I'm going to upload the video. You can go ahead and check that out. I should have it uploaded by at least 5 o'clock, so we'll see on that. But I already touched on the topic in the first segment, so just tune in earlier so that way you can be part of the discussion. I start my shows at 12:30 every single day, from Monday through Friday. So go right ahead and check that out. But with that in mind, let's go right ahead and talk about the NBA games that went down over the weekend, because there was a lot of them, and there was a lot of big ones. So we're going to rip the Band-Aid off, and we're going to talk about the greatest basketball player of all time, LeBron, and how LeBron James ended up winning 150 to 145. Excuse me, the Lakers ended up winning. I can't say LeBron ended up winning, but he did end up winning, just letting you guys know. But yeah, the Lakers ended up winning 150, 145. This was the first team in LeBron James' career that ended up scoring 150 points. Very first team in his career to do that. Now, does this mean that the team is good? No. The team is not good. They just played a team that has really, really bad defense. And it really shows up in the box scores when you look at it. Oh, Curito in the chat, he says, I just say this. Steph Curry is going to win his 5th ring, but I don't know if it's with the Warriors. I don't know about that. I don't know if Steph's going to win a 5th ring. I really think he's it. I really think that's it for him. I think that's all the rings that he's going to get. If he stays with Golden State. Now, if he ring chases and he decides to team up with LeBron, that's a different story. But I think that those are going to be that's it. I don't think he's going to win another ring. But I digress. So, back onto the Lakers. Anthony Davis ended the game with 36 and 16. Very good game. Thank the Lord he had a great game. He needed to look like prime Shaq out there, and he definitely looked like prime Shaq. LeBron James, 26 points and 10 assists. Obviously, GOAT-level performances that you expect from a GOAT. Austin Reeves ended the game with 25 points. Spencer Dinwiddie, finally, he started to show up on the stat sheet, ended up getting 26 points. I was starting to get worried there. I was thinking that he wouldn't end up having a great game like this, but thank the Lord he was ready. And Roy Hachimura only ended with 9 points. So, yay! No D'Angelo Russell in this game, but that's fine. That's okay. They ended up winning. They ended up winning by 5. There was no defense being played all day. So the fact that the Lakers were able to come out on top definitely says something about this team. And the fact that the Pacers ended up losing to this team, it's a very big problem. Because, again, the Lakers, they're not a good team. And, overall as a team, they are not a good team unless LeBron and Anthony Davis just carry the team. They're not good. I am sorry, they are not a good team. But who knows? Maybe they could go really far. And Tyrese Halliburton, he ended up putting up a stinker yet again. 12 points, 10 assists. He shot, let me just see his field goal. He shot 5 of 13 from the field. So, is he better than Trae Young? I don't think he is. I really don't. Pascal Siakam ended the game with 36 points and 12 rebounds, so another dominant performance coming in. But thank the Lord that Anthony Davis was able to match that, because if he didn't, that was going to look really bad on him. And in terms of scoring, that was really it. Nobody else ended up getting 20 points on the Pacers, and that's sort of what hurt them in the long run. Now, going ahead and looking at the chat, Curito, he has more to say. If Steph is going to team up with someone, it would be Giannis. Him and Giannis as same agents is just makes sense business way. I mean, yes, but they have Dame. So it's like Dame is just like an RC Cole version of Steph Curry. Like, if I don't want to be disrespectful to Damian Lillard, but it's like, in terms of play style, Dame is literally like just a little bit of a weaker Steph Curry, because they both take a lot of difficult three-point shots. They both take really deep three-point shots. And that team's not going to go anywhere if they have Doc Rivers as the coach. Let me just put that out there. They're not going to go anywhere with Doc Rivers as the coach. And on top of that, I don't think Steph Curry would have any incentive to want to go to the Bucks whatsoever, because they already have a duo with Dame and Giannis. So it's like, you're going to have to find a different star to coexist with, because while I do agree that play style would work, again, there's a lot of stuff that sounds great on paper, but when you're putting it into practice, it doesn't really give you the best results. Again, could just be talking, but like, I mean, with Steph Curry and with how Dame plays, they're basically the same play style. And Steph Curry, he does have some games where he only scores like 8 points, and that's really not going to help in the long run, especially like if you're running off screens like all the time. Like, Carrito has more to say. Now, basketball-wise, Miami Heat makes more sense. Why is it always the Heat? The Heat were the team that was getting hyped up to get Dame. Now, no, I think I don't think the Heat would work whatsoever with Steph Curry. Like, what? He's going to be LeBron? No. I don't see that happening at all. Like, I think that he's probably going to stay with the Warriors. And the Warriors, their GM, the GM makes a very good job in recruiting and bringing other players. So it's not like they can't get other players to go over to Golden State. I don't see a need for Steph Curry to leave whatsoever. But that's just me. So with that out of the way, speaking of Steph Curry, why don't we actually talk about the Warriors game, about how they lost to the Timberwolves 114-110. And obviously, like, the Timberwolves, they're incredibly shorthanded, so this was definitely like an advantage coming in from Golden State, because Golden State is not shorthanded. But even though they were shorthanded, they still ended up winning 114-110. Anthony Edwards ended up scoring 23 points. Rudy Gobert ended up getting 17 points and 12 rebounds. And Naz Reid ended the game with 20 points as well. So not very much. Again, the highlight for the Timberwolves is going to be their defense. And the defense is going to be what wins them games. How often they can hold their team to scoring a few points. Like, Steph Curry, they weren't really good at stopping Steph Curry, but then again, not many people are good at stopping Steph. He ended the game with 31 points, 9 for 21 from the field. And let me just look at the rest. Jonathan Kuminga, only 14 points. So Rudy Gobert was definitely putting a stop to a lot of that nonsense. Klay Thompson ended the game 6 of 15 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3. Again, this is the type of performance that isn't going to help the team whatsoever. And Andrew Wiggins played well, 4 of 8 from the field and with 15 points. But again, the rest of the team is really, really bad for Golden State. And they really should worry about Houston. I know Draymond Green, like previously in the post-game interview, he said, I'm not worried about Houston or something of that nature. But they really should, because right now Houston, they've won 8 straight games, and I believe they've won 10 out of the last 11 games, and they're looking they're looking like the team that is going to surpass the Golden State Warriors and actually make a play-in spot. Jalen Green has been playing out of his mind. I honestly, I need to make Jesus, can I not stutter? I need to make a whole new segment about him where I just apologize because I apparently didn't recognize his game. He knows how to hoop. He can play ball. That is definitely something that because before I said I thought he was just an inefficient shot chucker. But now he's hitting the shots that he's chucking up there. So it's I can't really call him an inefficient shot chucker anymore. Now, let me go right ahead. Carrito, he has more to say. To be honest, if Steph Curry does leave the Warriors, it's like when Dale Earnhardt Jr. left. Again, he's just yapping. Yeah, I think he's just yapping. But regardless, if Steph Curry, he's not going to leave. So it's there's no need. He's not going to leave whatsoever. When Dale... I like that comparison that he did. I'm not going to read the entirety of it because I don't think Steph is going to leave. I really don't think he will. And there's there's no need for there's no need to even bring this up, because the Warriors, they're going to give what Steph Curry needs. They're going to give him any type of player that he wants, any type of player that he needs coming in from free agency. And coming from California, a team that's in California, it's very easy to bring in players who want to go to California. It's very easy to do that. It's a lot more difficult to bring in players to go to Milwaukee. And I understand that's probably why you even brought up the Heat, because it's easier to recruit. But still, I don't really see that as I don't really see him as leaving that. So Carrito's just elaborating, when Dale Earnhardt left Earnhardt Incorporated, because one, the team started to severely drop off, and two, he got mentally exhausted from his stepmother. I mean, sure, I guess that's a great comparison, but regardless, it's meh. I don't really see Steph Curry leaving. Don't really feel like there's a need to talk about that whatsoever. I really think that it's Golden State should worry about free agency, because if they don't capitalize on free agency, which I think they probably would, that's when they got to worry about Steph leaving. But right now, I don't really think that's something to worry about. But regardless, let's continue with this recap and go over the rest of the games. So there were a lot of upsets. We talk about the Miami Heat. They ended up beating the Cavs 121-84. The fact that the Cavs only scored 84 points is honestly absurd. But then again, they still don't have Donovan Mitchell, so I don't really expect them to be that great in the scoring. They shot very poorly overall from the field. The only player that was in double figures in this game was Evan Mobley, who ended up getting 15 points. Other than that, the Heat basically dominated the entirety of the game. Not really much that needs to be said other than, really, we think the Cavs are going to be better than the Knicks? Come on. New York on top. But regardless, Clippers ended up losing to the Sixers. The Sixers still don't have Joel Embiid. And obviously this is a very disappointing game coming in from the Clippers, because they were just playing very, very well, and now all of a sudden they put up a stinker in this game. 12 points and 14 assists was what James Harden ended with, and he shot 5 of 13 from the field. Not very good. Kawhi Leonard ended the game with 20 points. Paul George ended the game with 18 points. Again, not winning basketball, not something that's going to end up. And this is definitely not the type of performance that the Clippers want to have into the playoffs. They need to make sure that every single one of them is dropping at least 20. But I digress. The Bucks, they ended up winning a very important game. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Giannis ended the game with 30 points and 19 rebounds. Dame ended with 11 points, and that's literally it coming in from Dame. It was not Dame time over in Milwaukee tonight. Chris Middleton ended with a triple-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. And again, not really much that needs to be said. I mean, I don't really expect Chet to be able to stop Giannis Antetokounmpo from scoring, and I don't really expect anyone else on the Thunder to stop Giannis from scoring. And again, it's really, really difficult for when the Bucks are playing like this. It's really difficult for any team to beat them. And it's also very difficult to sort of place this Thunder team, because I have no idea where to place them. Are they a good team, or are they a mid team? Are they a bad team? I'm really not entirely sure. And it's again, still very, very difficult to scale this team. They lost to the Pistons. I'm still not going to forget about that. And they keep losing to teams that I feel like they should have a very, very big advantage against, but they just don't, and I don't understand why. Now, speaking of the Pistons, they ended up losing to the Pelicans 114-101. So not really a surprising game there, because again, the Pelicans are just that much better. Zion hasn't really gotten as much media attention for his performances as I would hope. He ended the game with 36 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, and the media just brushes that off and he missed one shot. And the media just brushes it off oh, well, he's overweight and he eats tables. Are we serious? Come on. That's all I really need to say about that. And that's all the games that happened yesterday. So there is a little bit of time to talk about the games that happened on Saturday. The Knicks ended up beating the Nets 105-93. I totally expected this, and I saw this coming. The Kings actually ended up beating the Orlando Magic, so I can't even do the tune that I like doing. So they ended up winning 109 to 107. And let me just pull up the box scores in this game. I didn't bring up the box scores to the Nets game because the Nets, they're just disappointing me every single game, and I don't even want to look at them. Now, the Orlando Magic, the Orlando Magic and their success, like, while they don't get enough media coverage, it comes from Paolo Banchero. And if he doesn't perform well, then the rest of the team isn't going to perform well. But that's usually obvious. And there's nothing that really needs to be touched on with that. Sabonis ended the game with another double-double, 21 points, 14 rebounds. Keegan Murray ended the game with 22 points. And De'Aaron Fox ended the game with 31 points. So a lot better coming in from the rest of these players. And definitely a performance that they needed in order to succeed. And Carrito says, I've been praying for Ben Simmons. I can't imagine how much back pain he under. Do not bring up Ben Simmons. Do not. He does not have any of those problems. He is just making stuff up so that way he does not play games. That's the type of player he is. That's the type of player he will be. He probably doesn't even have back problems. I am sorry to say it, he probably doesn't even have those back problems because it's one day he can play and then another day he just randomly can't. Like, it's weird. It's odd. And I actually don't even think he has those. And I am one of the biggest, I dislike Ben Simmons severely. Like, I really cannot stand him. He does absolutely nothing for the Brooklyn Nets. He just sits on the bench and he takes a bunch of cap space. Please get him off my team. That is my only wish coming in from the Brooklyn Nets. And with that, we're out of time with this next segment. So now I'm going to pivot and go into the fourth segment where we talk about some nightmare matchups for a lot of these projected teams going into the playoffs. So I will be right back after this short break. But yeah, no, never talk about Ben Simmons unless I'm talking about him because he does not deserve to be in this league. I am sorry. He does, with all due respect, does not deserve to be in the league. That's my opinion on him, however. But I will be right back after this short break.